Alright, test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Alright, so what's up guys? So just for reference, my name is Miguel and I'm currently a second year nursing student in Western Sydney University. So with the exams pretty much already done and the second semester of this year pretty much commencing as we speak, I thought it would be a good idea to reflect on the nursing journey so far. So in particular, of what I had in mind to talk about was what I learned so far this year, the challenges and barriers I personally faced this year, what I could do to improve, and pretty much my overall thoughts of the journey so far. Alright, so first of all, I must admit, this year has been the most hardest year of my nursing journey so far, and I know it's only going to get harder. Personally, the big challenge for me this year was the back-to-back clinical placements that I had. So I had my clinical placements in both public and private hospitals, and it was 5 weeks straight. So 5 weeks of back-to-back placement, and the placement in itself is it's not terrible, it's not bad. Actually, I had a lot of fun and I got to learn a lot, but the big challenge was doing the five back-to-back week placements in conjunction with the semester in university. So I don't remember feeling burnt out per se, but I do remember doing a lot of my assignments last minute and falling behind on my weekly content for my units. It's funny that I say this now because I remember, I think at the end of last year, I said to myself, man, I hope they give me 5 weeks of full-time clinical placements just so I can see how good my time management skills are. I was dreading it so much. By the way, this all happened during the first wave of COVID-19 here in New South Wales. So as soon as my placement started, that's when everyone was going into isolation. So the shops were closed, uni was closed, it was insane. I remember looking back and I was like, man, it's getting pretty intense. I was out of a job for a little bit, so I was like, okay, you know what, placement's not too bad. I get to keep myself busy and still commence in this degree. As soon as the 5 weeks of placement were already done, I got a call from my actual job in retail, and they're like, Migs, the shops are opening soon. We need you to come in during the weekend. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. I was dreading it because 5 weeks, Monday to Friday in the hospital, and then on Saturday, Sunday, straight after that, I would be in the shopping center doing my actual retail job. So I remember I was like dreading it. I'm like, man, all my mates get to stay home and relax, and I have to like hustle. But you know what? It's okay. It's part of life. We're here, and everything's okay. So looking back at it, I can't really complain, I guess. To give myself an overall evaluation on how I handle all of it, I think I did alright, considering that I passed all my grades. I guess for me personally, the challenging part was fitting in my studies with a bit of my hobbies and social outings that I definitely had to like reduce a lot during that time, just so I can stay on top of my deadlines for my assignments. I did fall back on my weekly content as I mentioned before, but at least I was submitting a lot of my assignments on time, and that's more than enough for me. What I did used to say during my first year days was, I'm just a first year and I'm not expected to know anything. I realize more and more clearly that every time I enter the wards, specifically for this year is that I'm a second year now. What I mean by that is a lot of the nursing staff would give me more and more responsibilities compared to what I had to do like last year. They would even allow me to do a lot of the procedures, especially like administering medication, making sure I'm dispensing the correct amount and the correct drug. I guess you can say that the realization of taking care of real patients is getting more and more real as each year passes by. I guess you can say the thing that I realized for this year in particular, I'm gonna be taking care of real patients who are real people and individuals, and that is getting a lot more closer as each year passes by. Especially for this year, and probably next year, it's gonna hit me at some point that, man, I'm gonna be taking care of like real patients who are, real human beings. Readings are important, but you learn everything on the ward. I can definitely testify that is really, really true. I guess to you guys who are gonna go on placement, don't be afraid to ask questions. I remember I asked a lot of questions, and the main reason for this is because you're placed on clinical placement, or you're placed in clinical wards or situations so you can learn. And you can't really learn that in a book, you can't really learn that in a class. Whenever you do get on placement, like honestly, never be afraid to ask questions. Of course, patients come first, and that's always the number one priority. Just remember that you're also on placement so you can learn. You'd rather ask questions now instead of like waiting till you graduate and then you ask all the questions, so just do it, nothing wrong with it. I remember on this placement specifically, I was exposed to my very, very first emergency situation. We were mobilizing a patient. She was having a lot of trouble, and then we gave it another try, and then the patient was starting to feel like a lot lightheaded. The attending nurse I was with was like, okay, go get her a set of OBS. So that pretty much includes their blood pressure, their heart rate, the percentage of oxygen in their blood, their breathing rate per minute, and their temperature. So I was like, okay, I'll go and get the machine so we can, and I was like, okay, sweet, I'll go get the machine so I can do a set of vitals on the patient. When I got back with the machine, the patient was starting to feel more and more dizzy and very lightheaded. So the nurse was like, okay, we'll press the emergency button. So we pressed the emergency button. Everyone dropped what they were doing. So all the doctors and all the other nurses, they rushed to the resus trolley, so the resuscitation trolley, so they can stabilize the patient. I remember I was like, okay, I'm just gonna step back. And I was like, this is way out of my league. So I stepped back and I was just ready to go to do whatever they needed me to do. So I think even during a situation like this, there's nothing wrong with stepping back and letting the seniors take care of it. And one of the staff was like to me, student, can you go grab the ECG machine for us? And I was like, okay, I'll grab the ECG machine. And then I just stood back and watched, made sure there was enough space for a lot of the team to work together so they could stabilize the patient. The story ended well. The patient was stabilized again, and I was able to take care of this patient for the next remainder of my placement. And she was very kind, very sweet. And I even got to say goodbye to her on my last day, so I hope she's doing well. So with the COVID-19 pandemic still happening, it's definitely been such a challenge for university students as myself. Because of the fact, our face-to-face classes have been replaced with a lot of Zoom classes, it's definitely been a big challenge for myself personally, especially for this specific degree, because like a lot of the skills you do learn and the skills that you will need to apply in the workforce is a lot of like practical and hand-to-hand skills that you'll need to learn and develop. So because that's been taken away from us because of the pandemic, that's been like a main challenge for myself, I can say, for sure. But I also need to remember that this has been just as much of a challenge, or even more of a challenge, for the university itself. Not just because they have to worry about their students, their well-being, and their learning, of course, but because they have to worry about the university as a business. They have staff to pay for, like this stuff here. This university where I'm in right now, it's not for free. It costs a lot of money. And I know for sure that the economic struggle is getting more and more real here right now where I am. Even more of the case for other countries. The economic struggle for them is like, it's already real. Like, it's right there in front of them. So it's tough times for sure. My job or my role as a student in this institute is to just do my best, be more understanding for the university, because it is tough times. It is really tough times, not just for myself but for a whole lot of other people. I still, you know, live at home with mom and dad, so things are okay, but for a lot of people who, you know, work full-time, it's definitely more of a challenge for them. So my job is to keep doing my best as a student, fulfilling that role for myself while I'm here in university, and, you know, being more understanding and patient with the university, because it's tough times for sure, I can say that. So to pretty much sum up the nursing journey so far, we're halfway done, but of course there's still so much for me to learn. To be honest, I'm not really too sure what kind of field of nursing I do want to be in. I do know that I want to be in a public medical setting, and just as long as I have a job, that's more than enough for me. But anyways, stay safe, stay well, work hard, but not too hard, and, you know, have some fun as well. This is a Miggle Cam, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace. So has it been productive, bro?
Yes.
Yeah? What did you learn today in your...
We just discussed sustainability.
Sustainability?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Why it should be important for managers to know, why should businesses practice sustainability, and we discuss.
By the way, by the way, I just want to make a massive shout out to a very good friend of mine, formerly known as Joseph. I call him Josh. He gifted me this stethoscope. It was dead stock. It's not like those like super like pricey ones, but it, you know, it gets the job done. I can hear my heart. I still haven't figured out how to hear someone's lungs, but I don't think I need to know that anytime soon. Thank you so much, Joseph. Or I call you Josh, but thanks, Josh, for the gift. Not just that, but also giving me so much tips as a nurse slash childhood friend of mine from ages. But yeah, I appreciate the gift. I appreciate, you know, all the tips and advice and the talks that you give me about nursing and, you know, life in general. And yeah, I'll see you around soon for sure. But yeah, thanks.